All right. Hi there, everybody. My name is Jessica Crow, and I am the founder of Apogy, which is a change management, training, coaching, and consulting firm. And this is the Change Leader Speaker Series. And I'm really excited. I have Jasmine Kirby here with me. Hi, Jasmine. Jasmine is an organizational consultant. She is a change leader, a PhD candidate, and she is currently a senior program manager with VSP Vision Care. And we have been connected through the industry association that we both belong to. We connected on LinkedIn. We were commenting on each other's posts, and I was like, I got to get her on the show. She knows a lot about the area of change management, leadership, program management, and we both aligned on an article that she shared with me about the role of the middle manager, which we'll get into in a moment. But Jasmine, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in change management, all those fun things.
Absolutely. So I should probably confess right out of the gate that I am both a rebel and a consultant. And so there isn't a thing in the world probably that, in my view, couldn't in some way be betterfied, sort of allergic to the status quo. Probably you're going to find me in any of the roles I've ever had. I'm the one who is very likely to probably challenge the norm and see what other thinking that we might have. And I really did come to this pretty honestly, before I ever met change management or organizational development. I started out as a music major.
Okay. Very cool. What instrument, or were you a singer, or?
I, at the time, was a clarinet player. I was a professional clarinet player by age 8.
Oh my.
So, as I said, all of this, what happened with me in my career, which was a very windy road, it all came very naturally. So, but I did bounce on the music degree, got a communications degree. Yep. And that's what started the move into change. I went from a career in learning and development into project and program management. It was being recruited to a big consulting firm, though, that I thought, oh, I think I know who I am.
I love that.
I exist. And so that's when I found organization development and ultimately decided to pull everything about me into this PhD pursuit in industrial organizational psychology, which I'm hopefully finishing up now. But that's how I found my way to change management specifically. Like I said, probably very honestly, each place I went, I'm always involved in planned change and just passionate about us doing it the best ways possible, and leaving people intact while we're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting about that is many of the professionals who are currently change management professionals, or that is a component of their job, they found their way through it too, and then ended up getting certified or trained after the fact, or maybe they don't even have that, but because of their experience. And so much, if they have gone through the training, they've said, well, I was sort of doing that before, but now the training, the certification gave me a framework to think about how it is, why I'm doing what I'm doing in a different way. So it sounds like you had that same sort of navigation that led you to where you are now. And then you brought it all together and have this really cool PhD that you're working on, which is super exciting. Well, thank you for sharing that. And, the article that I mentioned a moment ago, what is about, I think it's called Leading Change from the Middle of Nowhere. And I'll include the link when I send out this video. But what I really liked about this, what I think we were connecting on, is the fact that today, and probably for a long time, but especially today, the role of the middle manager is so incredibly important and pivotal in change and influencing change, leading, guiding, inspiring their teams. But that role in particular is a bit underserved in terms of development, and they have the technical skills that got them the promotion, or they were able to assume that leadership role. And yet they don't have some of the softer skills, some of the understanding of change management concepts and theory that could help them show up in a different way. So, what are your thoughts on that with your education and with your own experience today? What's your take on all of that?
I totally agree with that. And I've done double duty. So I've been the middle manager.
Same. Yeah.
And I've led those who are middle managers. Totally agree. very pivotal role, and being prepared to do that role, I think is sometimes short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
We think it is so much about the operational side of things, but truthfully, my dad taught me this one in his 52 years. The person who can communicate effectively wins all the marbles.
Yeah.
It's a role that's sitting in the middle of the organization, that their ability to communicate and compel upward and persuade upward, as well as the ability to do the same with their peers and those that they work with, so that they can be effective. But communication is not innate. We have to go off and develop that. We have to learn a lot of things to be able to be good and effective when you're sitting right in it's a powerful position. I should probably even started there. It is a powerful position, but you just have to know why and how and the tools to do that. So I totally agree that equipping our leaders in the middle could make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to, change that happens in the organization, often that level of leadership is expected they're responsible for ensuring the change gets implemented as designed. And yet they don't often, and sometimes they do, but often don't have a seat at the strategy and decision-making table. So they're handed down this mandate of make the change a success. And yet all of the concerns of their team or the realities of the operations that are happening are not being factored into the strategic plan. Have you seen this before? And, what would you recommend to leaders and then also managers? How do you navigate that?
Oh, have I ever seen it before? It feels to me many times like a very bad game of telephone.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's like from the top down part of it. Yes, I am a firm believer that vision casting, right? Where are we going? If you get too many people deciding where we're going, okay, well, that's whipsaw with a steering wheel. So that's not what I'm suggesting. Senior leaders, once you hop out of your car and you decide, yes, this is where we're going, we're going to take this hill, being able to explain that and include others probably sooner than we do, because I as a middle manager, and when I hear them talk, if somebody had just asked me, that's what you were planning to do.
Right. I'm seeing this now with a few of my clients. I'm like, we could have included them a little earlier, but yeah, would have helped.
Asking involving, and everything is right-sized, right, Jessica? So it's all right-sized for multiple reasons, including in getting the voice of the managers in the middle. They're the ones sitting there with the data. They have the data that they got from the senior leader, and boy, do they have the deep, rich data that's coming from their teams and or their stakeholders. So I would love to live in a world where senior leaders involve, again, it's right-sized, use discernment, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Involve middle managers sooner, because they might be able to help you refine and craft messages that make it easier as you start to move the change through the organization. And for the middle managers themselves, I also want to live in a world where you still have a choice to use your voice. You still have superpowers of asking questions and seeking clarity from senior leaders. What I would hope that we don't see in the middle is that we just wander off in the middle and just go do.
Right.
That's it's a slippery slope of that's what they said to do, and we're going to go off and go do it. That's a dangerous place to be with our leaders.
Yeah. And so what I'm I'll sort of paraphrase that as well, where you've got this moment where you have to bring the middle managers in after that vision casting, and finding that right moment is really critical. And it's maybe more art than science, but it's clearly something where many organizations could focus more on that pivotal moment of when you bring the middle managers in. When does that happen? And it needs to be a lot sooner than is currently happening. And I don't believe we're painting a broad paintbrush. I'm seeing this with clients. I'm seeing, we're both seeing this. And so I would imagine anyone who's watching this video is like, yep, that's absolutely right. At the same time, would you agree, or do you have a different opinion around when the middle management team or those middle managers who are going to serve as those key stakeholders and, be the voice for their peers and the teams, there needs to be some level of training around emotional intelligence. And, there's a point at which you can provide input and insights into what the issues could be, what the leadership team wasn't thinking about, the realities of what's happening on the front lines and how that'll impact, what that means compared to the change. But at some point, there has to be, you move from problem identification to problem solving. And I think that is a big piece of it too. Like, when is it okay to be, there has to be something there as well. And I think that's missing for our middle managers in some ways. Do you agree?
I agree. That's the equipping part. I really believe more middle managers would speak up. They would be feel compelled to be a voice if they were more confident in their communication.
Yeah.
And again, it's not just innate. We cannot just expect that everyone fell to the planet being a skilled communicator that is able to craft messages that they're able to share. Or my friend would say to me, now don't go get yourself fired.
Right. That's the key.
You're going to go have this crucial conversation while the stakes are high. Preparing, being and feeling prepared for that. What are those real, to your point, that's a real skill.
Mm-hmm.
And how that can be done, and getting our middle managers to be equipped to have those kinds of conversations so that you can have influence. If I've had one middle manager conversation or theme that runs through there, it's influence and impact.
Mm-hmm.
But being equipped where they confidently, tact, decorum, emotional intelligence, you name it, where they can go have those conversations. And I think I would ask the question to the world, which is, why aren't we doing more of that?
Right.
Why more?
And I've thought about that question as well. And, when I was working, so I'm work for myself consulting, when I was on the inside working in the corporate space, you didn't get offered that type of development at the executive coaching around communication until you were an executive. And at that point, you're sort of, you've got a lot of habits and tendencies that are very well defined. And then it's breaking those down and improving your communication. Well, how cool would it be if our middle management had more access to that type of coaching and development, and just the ripple effect it would have on employees more broadly versus waiting until they made it. Now, cost is one, but I think we've seen so many platforms and resources emerge over the past couple of years to help up-level professionals in that way, which is exciting. So hopefully that'll help with some of this. But yeah, there's definitely a need for that broadly. And I think the benefit would not only be on the change, the people, right? Keeping people intact, I think, is how you said it earlier, which was a really great way of explaining, like, we don't want to break people down to the point of breaking and leaving. How do you lead that change, but also the ROI of the change, ensuring that you're getting the benefits that are expected and desired. And that's a big piece of it too. So what about one of the other aspects of the article that I thought was really interesting and accurate is that there isn't a lot of, often middle management, they share the same boss. So there's a degree of competition and then somewhat of a they're nervous to have conversations with each other because there is that level of competition. And then when it comes to, okay, there's a big change mandate. So it's like all this pressure is on the individual. How would you navigate that? Like, what recommendations, if you could wave a magic wand, would how would it look in a perfect world? What would that experience be like for middle managers?
Because that one is dicey, right? It's all every savvy in the world, right? Political savvy, organizational savvy, communication savvy. So I absolutely would suggest, well, let me take a step back. I can't adjust, change the direction of the wind, right?
Right.
I can only deal with me and adjusting my sales and dealing with my, what problem am I trying to solve? What opportunity would I like to seize? So I would have to start there first in preparing myself for how am I going to navigate that? And even in the face of all of that, to me, it's going to get back to what are your intentions and how you approach that, how you go about your communication and having that conversation with either direct or even higher up. Because for me, you owe it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As a middle manager, you owe it to yourself and your well-being and your team to not allow something that could be addressed to be addressed. Now, how do you do it? Yes, you're going to need to prepare.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's back to some of these skills that you were talking about, being equipped to be able to have those conversations, being developed to do that, right? Strategy, you're going to have to pull some strategy into that. I would also recommend linking and labeling whatever your cause and concern is, link and label that to the cause and concern of the person that you're getting ready to have the conversation with. So it's, for me, it's part strategy, it's part understanding the politics of the organization that you're in, but stepping back to pull that all together. But the main thing is you owe it to the organization. If you really see something that could be better, you would be remiss if you didn't. What am I leaving on the table?
Right.
If you don't.
I think that's a big oversight by middle managers. And again, this is broadly speaking, so I'm sure this is not reflective of everyone, but at the same time, what I'm seeing is they don't see it as this opportunity to stand up and make an improvement. It's more like another responsibility that I have to take on. So to your point, you'd be remiss to not say something, do something, make it better. And I see that with, they're asked to be responsible for leading and implementing change projects, programs, what have you. It takes a while for them to click and realize, oh, I have an opportunity to stand up here and serve as a leader. There's a lot of time spent in, here we go. Like, this is going to be so much work and it's not going to work. So I think there's some room there too.
and it's the flipping it on its head, right? Anything probably that looks like a problem very well is an opportunity. And what I have seen happen for some middle managers that do have that intestinal fortitude, it doesn't mean that they're not still afraid, that they have decided to go do it while afraid, because they see the opportunity for the organization and for themselves. And in some of those cases, quite frankly, they end up in a better situation because other leaders go, oh my, aha, here's a person who's willing to speak up. Had it came with both, right? I see some issues and I have some ideas, right? So it's and so much of it, though, if we don't tell them that it is okay to do that. So in the face of any competition and things like that, if we don't tell people, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for what are we leaving on the table if we don't look at different ways of doing things. We may have to, my magic wand Senior leaders, some of you may have to tell them.
Yeah, make it okay. Give them permission without repercussion or having them feel like it's going to be detrimental to their advancement. I love that. And could result in more opportunities too.
Exactly. In our organization, I speak for me and our organization. That is precisely what happens. Oh, you come marching with hey, here's an opportunity to do something else. And you come carrying some ideas, may not be perfect.
Yeah.
You're likely to get, hey, run off and bring a proof of concept back.
Oh, I love that.
Talk about it. So I want to live in that world where we flip it on its head, right? And don't so much look at the competition is real. So I can't really say, hey, don't look at
yes.
What they're facing is very real. And how do you navigate it with it? That is an iceberg. How do I go around it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're connected on LinkedIn, and you use this hashtag that I really like, that I think could be empowering for people. It's courage over comfort, I believe. Did I say that? Or courage and discomfort? It's courage over comfort. And I love it because that's really what you're describing here, is having the courage to move forward and identify opportunities to improve things, and not just spotting the problems, but coming back with these ideas and then seeing how you can make an improvement, which is can be scary if it's something new and different for the individual. So how did that hashtag come up for you?
And it's actually somebody, I typed in courage, and I happened to see that. I said, aha, those are two of my favorite words. So thank you, whoever. I take one for the team, but those are two things that I really believe in. When I look at anybody who has changed anything, or you look at the dancing guy video and things like that, right? And I'm from the music industry, right? And so this happens for us all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Before there was ever the Beatles, there wasn't.
Right.
And then they showed up, we were like, and you are, but somebody has to go first. Just the courage to just put it out there. And we talked about it earlier, right? With discernment, with some thought, with some structure to have a positive effect. But it's going to take courage. Anything I have ever seen that has an impact generally wasn't there before, and it took some courage. And for middle managers, this is really for me and for you. Comfort will probably delay whatever other greatness that you have by years, said the person who did that.
Thank you for sharing that, because I agree with that too, having been there myself. I think it's important to share that. I was thinking of it as complacency is the killer of innovation and growth, and because that's something that was like running through my head. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Comfort does. That's right. I love that.
Because it looks good. Good looks good. Good is good. See, that's the thing about good. It's good. It's not bad. Good is good. But what am I leaving on the table? There's better and there's betterer, right? If I'm making up words, right? But there's just this perpetual, it takes courage though. It takes the courage. And then senior leaders, what's your part? You do have to create, I want to live in a world where you create an environment that you're encouraging people to, what are we leaving? What else? Just as senior leaders, get good at asking what else 5 times before the meeting, right? Or every one-on-one. What else are you seeing? That
could be a whole other conversation around senior leaders, and then they're now at the level that they want to be at, and then some complacency sets in and you're not asking those questions, and you've got some hungry middle managers. So there's room for growth on all sides. So what we've what you've summarized or what you've talked about is for middle managers who are leading and influencing change, communication is a big important skill to work on developing, being able to negotiate up and manage up and also lead and inspire teams, and communication is one way to do that. You talked about if you're a senior leader, creating the environment that cultivates that type of curiosity and it feels safe to do that and innovate. And if you could say one more thing, like one more tip for someone who's either a senior leader or someone in the middle management role who is being asked to lead and implement a change. Oh, the other one was involve your middle managers sooner. Forgot that one. That's a really big one. But if you had another recommendation, either for senior leaders who are leveraging their middle managers to lead and influence change, or for middle managers who will have that responsibility, what would it be?
I really want middle managers to know, even if nobody ever says it, your role, the middle manager role, is probably one of the most powerful roles in the organization. I'll go back to it. It's because middle managers have the data. They're sitting in a place where if they were almost like a database, and they take data from everywhere, and it's really powerful to be able to use that to make recommendations, to improve really the lives of their team and themselves. It is a powerful role, and don't give that power away. Power in the good sense, right? The ability to ignite things and make and move things forward. That would be my, it's like a magic wand. It really is. It's a powerful role, I would say, despite what it feels like on Monday, or by the time you get to Friday and you're like, man, everybody wanted something.
Yeah. And by giveaway, are you saying you've got this opportunity to identify and surface and bring up information and make change happen, or change the trajectory of a change by using your power in that way, versus just taking the directives and implementing it and ignoring the fact that there may be something that could be improved or there's an issue. Is that the right way to think about it?
And it's this idea of, and giveaway is a strong word, but just to not use it, right? To have a very powerful machine, but it must be plugged in. Yeah. So otherwise it's just a paperweight, right? Unless you really use that power. I, as a person, again, who've been in the middle as a middle manager and who have led them, it is a very powerful role, and there's a lot of people in that. So to me, that's a lot of opportunity and a lot of good things that we can do together, being able to lead from wherever we happen to be, and in this case, in the middle of the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Okay, one more thing, because I thought of it as you were right before you were answering your question. It came to me, and it's based a little bit on what you're focused on for your PhD. Your path to becoming, in the role you are now with the focus you have was windy. It all made sense after a while. But if there's somebody who is interested in getting into a career in change management or organization design, development, consulting, what would you recommend? Is the competency and the training, is that the most important, or are the soft skills, like how do they really be effective as they go towards that role?
The studies are clear, right? I definitely have a bias, I will say, but the studies are very clear that it takes both. One must be credible and competent in the skills, right? So I'll call those our technical or hard skills. The studies are also clear that those are table stakes. That a doctor, medical doctor, simply could not call themselves a doctor if they didn't go do that and have the technical skill. The studies are also very clear. It's our interpersonal. So like this conversation, it's the interpersonal skills, sometimes said people efficiency or effectiveness is what is driving 21st century change. A stakeholder will forgive me in a minute for, your schedule's a little wonky. They will not forgive me for maybe leaving someone out or miscommunicating a change or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it is the interpersonal skills, sometimes that's soft skills. It's what's driving 21st century change. You do need both. One is percolating to the top for whether it's in blogs or even in academia. Those interpersonal skills they're
really important. Yeah. So this is really a message or a reminder for current change management professionals. You might have the skills and the training, but if your interpersonal skills are underdeveloped, then there's an opportunity for you. And if you're a leader or someone who aspires to be in change management and, be thinking about getting the training and the competency so you can have that confidence and foundation and leverage your other technical skills and your interpersonal skills. So maybe a message for everyone. Anything else you'd like to share with Apogy's community about, leading and influencing change at the middle level, mid-manager level?
I would say, and it's a shameless plug, but it's very true. This series that you're doing, there is a just deep, rich knowledge that's coming from
good.
A lot of different angles. I really would encourage the community to access the videos and to hearing people from the field really share its part practical. And sure, it's got, here's what the article said, et cetera. Here's what the study said. It's this beautiful blend of the two, right? Here's what we know from the field. I would highly recommend for the community to leverage your resources. I have enjoyed them, and that's partly how
thanks, Jasmine. That's so wonderful. I appreciate that. Yeah, so thank you. If you are watching this video, Apogy has a free members only resource library that will have Jasmine's video, this video, and then several other ones, all of the Change Leader Speaker Series interviews, because to your point, it is helpful to hear from people who are living and breathing it, not just these articles where it's inspirational, it's educational, but then you also are like, well, how does it really work in real life? And so hearing from you, hearing from others, it does expand your perspective and your thinking and give, hopefully some encouragement on how to move forward. So thank you for that. That was very nice of you. And I'm a big fan of continual learning. So I agree with you that that's one way to up your skill level and game, as whether you're a middle level manager, a new in your career journey, or you are a seasoned professional. So I think there's always room for that. Thank you so much. This has been really great talking with you about this really important topic. I have no doubt it's going to resonate with many, many people because there's many, many middle managers out there. Where can people find you if you're open to connecting? Is LinkedIn an okay place for them to reach out and make connections?
Exactly. LinkedIn is probably where I am. If I'm not doing something with a dissertation, LinkedIn you can find me.
Fantastic. Well, good luck with the rest of when you'll be done at some point, maybe next year, it sounds like.
I want to be done this
year. Okay. Hopefully this year. So good luck at finishing by the end of this year. Thanks again for your time today. And I have no doubt we'll stay connected moving forward, but really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Jasmine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.